Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be learning how to make your princess dart bustier. So if you want to learn this, please keep on watching. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. We do sewing and fashion videos up here. So now let's begin. So I just placed in my vertical measurements, my shoulder points, my bust point, my under bust point, and also my top length. So I'm just squaring that out now. And next up, I'll be marking in my shoulder width, which is half of my shoulder measurement. I placed it up there. And I also took my shoulder slant and now back in my chest line. To make my chest line, if you don't know, is your bust circumference divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches. And you'll be putting that mark from your shoulder slant. So now I'm just letting all where my points are, my bust line and whatnot. So now I'm placing in my nip to nip measurements. I'm going to be making it in there, half of my nip to nip measurement plus half an inch. And then I'm going to be squaring the line out. And now coming to my armhole, I'm going to find my midpoint, and I'll be coming down by 0.5 inches from my nip point in my mid armhole point. This is where I'll then be connecting my line to my bust apex. So this is just like a guide for our princess seam. So now to make our actual princess seam, I'm going to be coming down from my apex points by 1 inch and also going up by 1 inch on the line we already made. And then I'm measuring my bust line to my under bust line and I'm dividing it by 2. And on the right hand side, I'm going to be placing that measurement and also placing half an inch on the left hand side. So what I got after dividing by 2, I placed it on the other side of my bust. I got 1.5. I placed it on 1.5 on the right side of my nipple line, and also the other side I placed half an inch. So after keying that out, I squared out the lines, and now I'm using my pattern master to curve it to my apex point, which I came down by 1 inch. So now what I divided by 2 and got, I'm also going to take it to my armhole and place it after that diagonal line we already made. And also using your pattern master again, you're going to be connecting that line to the apex point. You're just going to be smoothing that out. So our princess dart is here, and we also have our under bust tightening. So now to actually finish up this front piece, we need to extend our armhole, because with that mark we need there will give us a shortage. So before I did that, I actually keyed in my main half armhole point and I went in by half an inch, and then I extended my chest line, and on that chest line I'm going to be marking 1/4 of my bust circumference. And then with my pattern master, I connected my shoulder slant to the mid of our armhole, and I'll also extend that line to come down to where our princess line is. And then now on that curved princess seam, we are going to be extending the line on that curved princess seam. Or if you don't want to just extend it, you can measure the slanted line, and then whatever you have on that slanted line, you come and place it on that curved line. You make sure they are equal. If they are not equal, you have a shortage in your fabric. So with that point, I made the point and I connected it to the point we already made on the chest line. So on that chest line, I added 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. On my bust circumference, I marked my bust circumference divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. Same with my top length. I marked our top length divided by 4. I also then measured my dart intake and I replaced it, and then I additionally added 1.5 inches also for sewing allowance. So now I'm just connecting that line, and then I'll be tuning out my lines. So this point I'm shading is actually what you'll be cutting out your dart intake that you actually cut out. So for my neckline, I'm using the neck depth of 3.5 inches and neck width of 3.5 inches as well. And use my pattern master, I will be connecting that to make a curve. You can make any neckline of your choice. I just wanted to go with a simple and a basic neckline. So once that's done, I can now cut my pattern piece. So now onto the back pattern, I'm placing in all my vertical measurements, which is my chest line and my top length line. At that point as well, I went ahead to place my shoulder divided by 2 measurements and also my shoulder slant, making my shoulder slant of 1 inch. And on my neckline, I took a neck depth of 1 inch and also neck width of 3.5 inches, same as the front. On my, I also marked my chest line, which was, as you know, your bust circumference divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches for the neck, for the chest length. And then marking the midpoint of my armhole, I connected it with a curve to my chest line. So now my chest line, I'm just placing quarter of my bust circumference plus 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. On my hem length, for now I just placed quarter of my waist circumference. So now I also marked my nip to nip measurement, half my nip to nip measurement. I squared that out to the chest line, and now I'm taking a dart intake of 1/2 inch at both sides, and I'll be connecting that point, the slanted line, to the chest line. And also for zip contouring, I also like to take 1/2 inch and also using a slant line to just connect it to somewhere like 2 inches or 3 inches above the chest line. So please remember that in this pattern, I don't have my my zip allowances yet, so just add it. On lace line, I added measurements of that we took and also 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. And I'm just fine tuning my lines and I'll be cutting that out. Please, like I said, that I don't have my zipper allowances yet, so you can add a zipper allowance of 1.5 inches at the center back. So that if you want to process that at the back as well, you just use your pattern master to make a curve to the mid armhole, connecting it down to your chest point. So now with this, you cut out your back pattern. Once done with that, this is how your front and back pattern should be looking. Very simple and very easy. This is your basic princess dart bodice, and it gives you a very, very well contoured fit. So now if you like this video, please subscribe and I'll see you guys next time. So also check out some of my other videos. Love you guys.